Hi, and welcome to the SpeedGaming Aria Sorrow Randomizer tournament. Today we have a good race between JupiterClimb and Rocher. Rocher, of course, made our map tracker and item tracker you can download on Emo Tracker, which is really great for learning the game. And Jupiter, of course, is the world record holder of the Aria Sorrow any percent. So I'm expecting a good match. What you'll see here is you'll see Jupiter try to get the Bastard manip, which is, if you time it just right, you can get a guaranteed drop off the zombie at the beginning. Rocher went for a 2. Neither of them got it, but in some other matches we saw that they got a final sword off of that before, which is incredible. And Chrono Mage 2 is a very nice find to start with. It lets them do the time-locked check in the Galamoth area. To start, we are looking for either Flying Armor, Malphus, or Black Panther. And that's going to let us progress to the next area. And what you see is a fun little trick there where people start walking on the boats when they're going forward, just to save a few frames. It's one of my favorite little things you can do. And okay, we have the Flying Armor confirmed. So I'll be interested to see if anyone goes and picks up that lance. So we see Rocher going for it. He picked up the Gungnir, which is a pretty strong lightning lance. It hits 2 or 3 times. But I guess Jupiter is happy since he already has a pretty strong weapon, the Yasutuna sword, that can also get multiple hits off. So making quick work of the Creaking Skull. And he's just going right for the next area. He's not going to go down and check anything else, killing the Creaking Skull. And we'll see if he goes and checks the 2 checks underneath here in the wall or in the reservoir, the long hallway. So he skips out on it as well. And Jupiter is coming up on a couple checks here just after this hallway. There'll be one that's locked by flight. There'll be one you can jump to. There's going to be one that you require a damage boost or a really pixel-perfect jump to be able to get. Or a giant bat, which is really early for that. So this is a pretty interesting scene so far. Getting giant bat that early is pretty big. And Rocher is going to come up on it too. We could see a lot of divergence here. So if you have giant bat, you don't really need to do the damage boost. You can just fly around. So Rocher is getting that cream puff. Jupiter decided he didn't. And we see Jupiter, he's going right for the inner quarters. He has a couple strong weapons, so he should be able to do pretty well here. He has the Asafune, and he still has the the Yasutuna. He's gonna go ahead and open up the teleporter here. Rocher putting on the skull necklace just to get a little bit more defense out. Since they're both in, I think, just the casual clothes, it's a lot more risky to do this. So Jupiter's just going right for the top floor, which is a play, or okay, no. I understand now. He's just opening up the teleporter, and he was going, so he's gonna go and do the chapel now. Jupiter is a little bit ahead. Jupiter is probably the favorite to win the tournament just because of he's the world record holder. His execution is very, very clean. But Rocher is also a very capable runner, and if the routing works out for him, he could definitely pull. He's also opening up the clock tower teleporter. So I've never even thought of doing this before. This is really interesting. But since you have flight, yeah, I guess you can do that. Meanwhile, Rocher is going for the inner quarters. Ooh, and he takes a death. So it's very risky when going through inner quarters and the casual clothing. Everything hits you very hard. And sometimes you have to play risky to be able to try, but I'm pretty happy. I would be happy to make that play, and sometimes it's not going to work out. But there's still opportunities for him to make it back, even though he lost that time from that death. He will also be able to save a bit of time from knowing where some stuff is. Here, it looks like he's gonna... Where is he gonna head to now? Oh, he forgot that he didn't go get the flying armor because he saved before the flying armor. So he is gonna lose maybe another minute there. Meanwhile, Jupiter's heading towards the chapel. We're gonna get just some grapes. He's not picking that up. You'll see that Jupiter has a much riskier playstyle. He will skip a lot of food items. He will skip a lot of items even for selling to buy food. And he gets a Black Panther in the chapel as well, which would be pretty big for him. So he's got his flying armor again, and now he's going to be able to progress. We'll see if he goes for the inner quarters again, or if he's just going to go straight for the chapel. So we know that Black Panther is in the chapel. Jupiter making quick work of Manticore in that time. He also gets a nice wooden golem soul, which he'll probably put on, because that's going to help his bat movement a lot. So we know that Black Panther is in the chapel, but it could also be, from where it was, it could also be on Headhunter. So we'll see if Hunter again, or if he's going to go right for the chapel. The really awkward thing about having the giant bat is that you don't have double jump. And it makes movement really strange and not comfortable. And if they end up finding where they find double jump, then you have to swim without double jump. It's really awkward. You have to unequip the Skull Soul to be able to float up and then re-equip it to sink down. And since they don't have double jump yet, that could very well happen. Rocher picking up a nice little creaking skull there, which should help his damage a little bit. Yeah, so the giant bat is, you have to manage your MP very well. But he also did get the wooden golem soul, so that's going to give him a lot of opportunity. And here he's just doing a quick check of the merman room. Tear of Blood wasn't worth it for him. It's a very nice item, but Jupiter doesn't care too much for small quality of life things like that, where most racers would pick that up. Especially when you're still in casual clothes. I think it has a little bit of a defense boost. And Rocher's going to open up the teleporter again here. We'll see if he goes towards Headhunter or if he goes towards the chapel. In the meantime, Jupiter is doing Headhunter, and we'll see if Headhunter drops either Black Panther or it could be Slide. Since both of those were in logic coming up here, it could be either one. It depends which one got placed first. I didn't notice that Rocher had a demon's mail. That's some very nice armor. So he's going right for Headhunter as well. And we're hoping to see Black Panther here so that Rocher gets it a bit earlier. Yeah, so Jupiter has Black Panther, but if there's a Black Panther drop, it'll be good for Rocher. So Headhunter will always have something to prevent you from soft blocking here. Oh, it could also be Giant Bat, now that I think about it. And it was just a random soul this time. It was just a rock armor. That's pretty rare. So they're both heading up the tower right now. Headhunter doesn't usually drop one of that was very weird with the blade there. It just kind of jumped up into the sky on Jupiter's screen. They do find Undine up there. So Undine at this point, you already have Giant Bat. So the Gardens was already in logic. So I think the only thing Undine would be pointing to here would be the Forbidden Area. And for that, they're going to need to find a Rush Soul. In the meantime, Jupiter is making the Galamoth check here. There's 2 items at the top of this tower. And it's just a katana and a potion. So that Chrono Mage at the beginning didn't really help too much. So the 3 souls are going to be in canisters, and it could also be on deck. So it is possible for Headhunter to potentially draw something that's already in a canister. Because I find that Castlevania really lends itself well. It really lends itself well to randomizing. Jupiter is making the ceiling check here. So there's just the Poison Fist. He decides he doesn't want it. It's also running quite low on health here. Rocher is about to find out that Galamoth was nothing, and here we'll see Jupiter making a few quick checks, and if he finds nothing, he's going to reset. It's even hard to see just what he even saw. That's how fast he was checking the rooms. So there's the reset. He's going to go back to that save point in the dance hall and do some of the lower checks. He almost left that book there. Realized he still needs that. But he's probably not going to check in until much later. As for right now, it's a bit hard to tell what the book could be. So the souls that you need tend to be later in the logic. So it's not like the Zelda randomizer where anything could really be anywhere. It would be more like if you find something in Turtle Rock, it would be more likely to be progression. So Black Panther was in the chapel belfry, whereas Rocher, he had Giant Bat. He went right for doing the inner quarters. Especially with that Demon Mail drop, it's pretty safe for him to do it at that point. They are playing the same RNG, it's just Jupiter headed towards the chapel, and Rocher went to a different area. So unfortunately, he's missed Black Panther, so he will fall a bit behind until he finds it as well. In the meantime, Jupiter's heading up towards the floating gardens, which is also in logic with Giant Bat. Okay, so it looks like the two souls we have so far are Werewolf and I think Stolas. Stolas is an int buff and Werewolf is, I think he shoots fire, it's a bullet soul. So we're still looking for book 2. I don't think we have any of those souls yet. And there's a yellow soul up here, so let's see what that is. So there's Stolas. That's pretty early in the logic. I think this seed might not have the reservoir required. I think this could be a very fast seed from what I see here. I'm basing this off of that they're finding the soul, and it's somewhat earlier in the logic. Whereas Skulla so far is nowhere to be seen. Rocher making quick work of the big golem, and he decides he doesn't want to. Oh no, he goes back for the ramen bowl. He's a hungry boy. A hungry man, excuse me. I would probably take the ramen too. It's pretty important. So there's Skulla up in the clock tower. I think Rocher got a Tsuchinoko soul, so when they unlock the shop, that could be very useful for him. Gets another Chrono Mage soul from the needles. He's gonna do a couple checks here to see if there's any progression. That's just samurai armor. No one really wants to pick that up. I'm not sure is he wearing any armor, or is he still in the casual clothes? Yeah, moving around without double jump is quite awkward. Okay, the armor of fire is decent armor. I'm sure he's pretty comfortable with that. And it looks like Jupiter's going to be taking the teleporter. I think he might be going to explore top floor here, I'm not sure. Because he did leave some stuff in the clock tower there. There was, I think, one other check and death that he didn't go do. And Rocher also heading towards top floor right now. So there's another form of flight. Still no double jump. What could very well happen is there could be no double jump in this scene. Or it could be somewhere that they don't visit. If double jump is in the reservoir and they don't need to go there, then they're gonna be not using it at all. But this seed really shows you so between finding an early Black Panther and skipping it. So it really can be a difference breaker. So there's Galamoth, which we know is nothing. With just a katana and a potion there. And there's the werewolf seed that we know we needed. Or the werewolf soul we know we needed. So now we just need a blue soul and the blue book. So I don't really remember if we had any blue soul canisters so far. We know that Jupiter has 2 of the souls now, and we're still waiting on the blue book and the blue soul. Yeah, I'm not completely sure, but I don't think, although Giant Bat is the vanilla soul, I don't think it can be chosen in the randomizer. You don't need, what he could choose to do if he finds, what he could choose to do is he could choose to try to guess the blue soul once he finds it. Guessing can be a pretty interesting strategy. It might be a bit hard on Jupiter. Again, is very low on health, but that's just how he likes it. So he's gonna go do the big golem, although we know that's nothing. Meanwhile, Rocher is gonna head over and do the part of the clock tower that Jupiter missed, that he skipped out on so far. Red book, I believe, was in the floating garden. And Jupiter heading up now as well. Rocher putting on that creaking skull to get out more damage. Yeah, they still have no double jump, which makes for a pretty awkward death fight, especially for phase 2 when you have to jump over the site. Okay, so that is a blue soul, the Cagnazo. That was on the way to Dance Hall, near the beginning, above Creaking Skull pretty much. So that could potentially be our blue soul. So Jupiter just tanking the scythe. And Rocher finishes the death fight first. Let's see what he gets here. Nightmare. So we know that's not required, although it is a very nice soul to have. And the coffee. So there's coffee behind death. So that's not too useful either. So I think the options here, what I would do. So you could either go guess with the Cagnazzo soul that you already have, that Jupiter already has, or you could head towards the study. So Rocher's picking up his Skulla. He'll probably do the underwater checks here as well. So he's going to be heading through the reservoir. He's going to be checking the eastern reservoir first. So he does a save there in case he finds nothing. He can reset and then head into the other part of the reservoir. Kind of long to go through this part of the reservoir. Rocher going through the clock tower, jumping through the pendulums without double jump again. The Mirror Muscle, that's a very nice find for Jupiter. And a Rune Ring. That's also a very nice find. Although they don't have a Rushel currently, it's very, very nice for MP management. I'm wondering if he'll keep those items or if he'll just reset out of it if he finds nothing else. Because those are very nice items to have. So just a cream soda behind that brick. And there'll be one more check he'll be doing here, the top of the waterfall. Just a tasty meat. So he's deciding to keep... Oh, and the Balmung. Okay, so he has the Balmung and the Mirror Masa. Those are pretty comfortable weapons. That's probably why he's keeping what he's found here. The Mirror Masa is great for fighting Chaos with, and Balmung is great for fighting Julius with. Rocher gonna go get his Stolas right here. And that again is our required yellow soul. And I believe he's about to look here as well. It should be just up here. And that one we know is Werewolf, which is at the top floor. So, okay. Still no backdash, or still no double jump, but the backdash is very nice. It'll come in handy when he's using the Balmung later in the Julius fight. That was just a whip knuckle. You don't need that boxing glove. He already has better weapons. So there was our double jump finally. Deep in the reservoir. potato pancake behind the waterfall there. That was a blue soul here. So this could be required as well. That could be the required blue soul. We'll see where Rocher heads with this. Jupiter is going to be doing the arena, it looks like. I didn't see what was there, but I guess it was nothing. It was such a quick check. Rocher gets a manticore. So he could potentially do the forbidden area. Just off, which is an amazing soul to get off a random draw because it's the strongest rush soul as well. It does the most damage. It looks like he's going to be heading towards the chapel. So Rocher will finally be getting his Black Panther, and he's going to realize that this could have been bad, but we'll see. Jupiter will also usually do the inner quarters first if he has the opportunity. So Rocher might not feel behind at this point. So Jupiter did some nice jukes with his Black Panther movement to keep the lubricants from bothering him while he was hitting the wrecking ball. Rocher is doing these 2 checks here in this long hallway. Jupiter going through this terrible room. I'm not sure what that was. It looked like he left a gun there. But I didn't get a good look at it. Again, he's very quick. It could have been the silver gun, which at least sells for a lot. Although he already has better weapons to fight Julius with than the silver gun. So Rocher getting his slide, and he's also about to get his Black Panther. Meanwhile, Jupiter will be taking on Valor. Valor, I learned, is an Irish mythology creature. Same thing with the Claim Soleil, it also comes from Irish mythology. So this is a good game for St. Patrick's Day. So there's another Black Panther off of Valor there. I'm happy for this. This is an interesting match, and it's always a pleasure to watch Jupiter Rocher play. And they both have Black Panther now. I also have no idea how to say claim soleil properly. Jupiter is doing the study now, hoping for the blue soul or blue book here. Rocher as well. So we're gonna have a little bit of a synchronize here as they go through this. I know that the V a V sound, but I don't know about MH. So just a beam skeleton. Jupiter grabs it as well. There's a couple of red souls that are, so he could be looking for that as well. Like if it had been a red Minotaur, it'd be definitely worth to pick that up. A Levitain, that's a very nice sword to find. So they may be using that for Julius, not for Julius, but for the first phases of Graham. So Rocher going for the gun there that he picked up. That's the thing that Jupiter skipped at the beginning. You saw how quick work he made of the great armor. Because all of the armors are weak to lightning. So another great weapon for those would be if you use the Vijaya. And I believe we're still missing the blue book. So we've seen Jupiter has already explored most of the castle, so there can't be too many other places it can be. He's checking the shop for it, I think. And there it is. So picky underworld fiends. That would be the Cagnazzo soul that we saw before. So if Jupiter had guessed the soul 15 minutes ago, the scene would be done. But Rocher is also going to see this. He's also going to get the book, and he also will be in go mode. Except the difference here is that Rocher has that Manticore drop. So that Manticore drop could be huge. Although on the other hand, Jupiter has the Balma and he has the Muramasa. So he has better weapons in general. While Rocher has a much higher peak damage output with the Manticore Soul. So even though Jupiter found the Black Panther that much earlier, we still see them doing Graham at the same time. Just because of the routing, because of Jupiter's decision to put off the study so late. I didn't notice if he bought the Khaled bulk. He already has backdash and he already has backdash and he has the Balmung, so he's already pretty set for Julius. Although I think the Khaled bulk, it's easier to hit him 4 times quickly, but it's a bit harder to be as consistent. Meanwhile, Rocher is using the Levitain that he picked up in the study. He's into phase 2. Oh, he should be into phase 2 soon, while Jupiter is doing phase 3. And he's using the Ascalon. I didn't notice that I did not notice that the soul goes aura, aura, aura. I didn't notice such a clear JoJo reference before. So Jupiter finishing off his grand fight while Rocher's in phase 2. We also picked up a nice Drac tunic, so that's some decent armor, although Rocher already has some pretty good armor. So it won't be as big of a deal for him as it is for Jupiter. Cleum Solish? Okay, I'll try to call it that from now on. I was expecting Rocher to be using Manticore here to hit the core, although it drains your MP a lot faster. I thought I remembered Rocher getting a Demon's Mail drop early in the match. He's only a few minutes behind at this point, although there is also a large level difference. But level difference can be made up with smart use of the souls and weapons that you have. So we see here Jupiter going for Balmung strats on Julius. So you're making nice work of backdash cancels to get quick pokes in on him. And then jumping over the whip occasionally when he's too close. And Rocher making his way over there too. So he will also be doing Julius at the same time as Jupiter, just a little bit behind. So he's making his way through the clock tower towards the Julius fight, while Jupiter is heading into phase 2 with Julius. He's getting some really good damage off that Balmung usage. Rush save here, and then heading into the Julius fight. So the first phase of Julius, I believe, has 4,000 HP, and the second phase has about 2,000. So it's a faster phase, although it's more dangerous. And you see him making use of that Manticore. Getting 300 to 500, depending on how many hits he gets. Okay, so Rocher bought the Khaled Bog for the fight, whereas Jupiter just used the Balmung. Jupiter checking out that yellow soul. It could be worth it, There is at least one yellow soul I can think of that is quite nice to have would be Archdemon. And he makes it over the giant skeleton, which I never managed to do. I always get hit by that skeleton, so I'm impressed. It's actually a really tight jump, and he makes it look easy. So there's just a silk robe there, so he doesn't pick that up. It's only a small int boost. The armor itself isn't that great. And there's a blue soul here. I guess he's hoping for a rush soul. So it's Curly. So that is strong. Curly is a strong rush soul. Just the damage that Rocher is going to get from Manticore will be a lot more than the damage that Jupiter gets from Curly. I'm also not sure if he's stocked up on the high mind-ups that Rocher did. So he switches to the Muramasa here, and you can just see how many double and triple hits he's getting on this. It's really a great sword for fighting Chaos with. Even for killing the eyes, it's very strong. Rocher finished off Julius, and he's heading for the Chaos fight as well. But again, in the Chaos fight, it's always possible to get a little unlucky and die, so this could be very close. So we'll see what type of strategies Jupiter goes for here on the eyes. Okay, so he has the mind-ups as well. Maybe he bought them just in case. Just in case he found a rush soul. Muramasa isn't that great on the core, the damage is a bit low. But you can also get double and triple hits on the upper eyes if you're willing to go for it. But here we see Jupiter going for a 2-eye strat and using the Curly Rush Soul to deal 150 damage per rush here. And he's getting close here. He's making great use of the Curly Soul that he picked up. And the high mind-ups he bought just in case have really worked out for him. And that's a GG. So Jupiter finishing with a 53.18, or SRL time, he has a 53.24, which is a very good time, whereas Rocher was just starting his Chaos fight. But even though Jupiter had the Black Panther for so much longer than Rocher, it's still a close seed. So it really shows the difference that routing can make. If Rocher had found the Black Panther a little bit earlier, I think we would have been seeing him as the winner here, since Jupiter ended up doing a full clear of the castle. Except for Legion, of course. But this was a great race from both of our runners. even with the routing that they did do, without that early death that Rocher took, it could have also been him that won. So this was really very close. I say Rocher because I know he's French. So he's making use of his Manticore Soul, which has an incredible damage output. Although he is a lower level, so his damage is a bit lower as well. So he's getting 40s instead of 50s. I'm not sure if he put his Stolas Soul on. He probably did, but I wasn't looking at the time. He still has a lot of potato pancakes there, so he should be pretty safe. As long as you react and can use your healing items, it's okay. But it's also really easy to get juggled and hit 2 times really quick. Here we got the sound from Rocher. Sorry, it's a bit delayed. We get to hear this good chaos music instead of the ending screen music. So he's done 3 eyes now. We'll see if he goes for a 4th one or if this is enough for him, doing 15 damage. So I think we did see the level difference making a play. It's a bit of a meme when we talk about the level difference, but you really did see a difference in how much damage the rush souls were doing. Yeah, Chaos is a very tough fight. If you play it safely and carefully, it's not the worst thing in the world, but you can always get unlucky. The bone dragon can come up underneath you when you're avoiding the spikes, and then that can knock you into stuff, and it can hit you into eyes. Well, Manticore is a stronger rush soul than Curly. It has more base damage. And then Rocher finishing as well. He came in with a 59-12 on SRL. So this was actually a really interesting seed. It really could have went either way. We get a nice mirror finish from both of them. A nice reflection of the somas. And then we will be heading into game 2. Just let me see how long that's going to be taking. So just hang tight for a little while we get some stuff worked out. And I'll let you know when the next match will be starting. Okay, we're back. So the next race will be starting very shortly. So this will be the second match of the head-to-head. And if Rocher wins this one, game 3 will be right after as well. Yeah, a couple of games have gone to game 3. Some people just do 2 in a row. Some people are okay with doing all 3. And here we're starting. Again, they'll be trying to get the Bachelor drop here. I think it's also possible for there not to be a drop. Although usually there is one. So neither of them got it there. We'll see how this seed starts. Rocher picks up the army jacket. That's a nice little piece of armor you can get to start. And they're both going to be heading into the reservoir here. Just a potion there, just as the first check. And they're doing this long waterway check now. And it's really something you can't skip, because you can't go forward without finding the flying armor or finding Black Panther or Malthus. So it's just either a mimic or it's either... So it could be a mimic or it could be money. I think it was a mimic. The mimic and the regular money is actually a slightly different color. The mimics tend to be slightly darker. But I think the blue one's the hardest one to notice it on. And disc armor is actually a very nice soul to get. It has some pretty strong damage. You can get some double hits on it. Jupiter makes quick work of the creaking skull, and you see Rocher with the disc armor makes even quicker work of it. And we have a flying armor start again, with that first soul being a Quetzalcoatl, which they can equip if they want a little bit more defense. What I sometimes do is I save at that save point anyways, just in case you get something to be able to go up to inner quarters. But it really depends how comfortable you are doing it. And then there's the Black Panther. Well, Rocher won't be missing this one. This is not gonna... The difference here is not because of Black Panther. I tend to prefer when Black Panther's a bit later. We get to start seeing them go fast right away. So there wasn't anything too useful up there in those checks. So we're going to see them head towards the chapel. What's interesting with Black Panther too is the execution is really different compared to playing the game normally. Like, the way you pass through rooms and avoid enemies or kill enemies is very different. So he finds skeleton blades down there. So since there's progression down here, we're not going to see him reset out, because he's going to need to keep that skeleton blaze. And there's Cognazo again. We'll see if it's the blue soul again. That would be funny. So there's a lot of souls early in this one. There's a lot of soul canisters. So Jupiter picked up a killer mantle, which is it's an enemy you find in the arena, and it's the only way to kill the iron golem in a reasonable amount of time. And there's the iron golem soul along with our Malthus. Iron golem is a very nice soul. With the Iron Golem, if you have decent armor, you can just kind of ignore enemies. So you can just ignore what's happening to you. So Jupiter makes quick work of the Manticore here. So he finds Kicker Skeleton out there. So that check is technically flight locked. So it's not in logic until they have Hippogriff or they have Giant Bat. So what you could see with that is he might sequence break the ceiling in the dance hall. And of course the Muramasa that we both just found is an incredible sword to have because of the great multi-hits. You saw how well Jupiter used it in the first race when he was killing Chaos Phase 1. And there's a Drac Tunic up there, so they could come back for that if they decide to later. Rocher is going right for the study. I think this is a smart play from him. Normally I prefer to put off the study, but when you're playing against Jupiter and he has such strong execution, you don't want to route it the same way he would. You want to do something different than what he's doing. The Rune Ring was a good find, and the Durga as well. Durga you can hit through walls. Meanwhile, Jupiter's heading up for the Floating Gardens, and he'll be doing the Clock Tower, or he will be resetting out if he doesn't find anything useful. And there's a Gray Soul there. So this could be big for Rocher if this is something important. So it's just Gravekeeper, but the backdash is very nice to have for some weapons, and it might be something useful in the backdash room as well, which will be coming up. Meanwhile, Jupiter flying through the floating gardens here. So Jupiter finds Hippogriff, which is flight. So this is behind Undine. He's also just going to be noping out of the floating gardens after finding that. which I think is a pretty solid play, especially when you don't have Skula yet. It's nice to have light. You can come up and do the clock tower from the other side. You don't have to do the long walk out. Yeah, early Black Panther tends to make for some very, very quick Cs. You can see both runners finish in 50 minutes. So Rocher is now doing the long walk out of the library, whereas Jupiter is doing a few checks here in the dance hall. Jupiter went back for the samurai armor. Like, he needs a bit more defense. When you have the iron golem, you get hit more often. Well, another benefit to doing the study earlier is that you get access to Hammer faster. We saw in the last race that Hammer had a book. Although usually he doesn't. It's actually pretty rare that that happens. But the real advantage to Hammer is being able to have healing items as much as you like, being able to have equipment that's good for you, that's strong. So Jupiter finding Skula here. So Skula was just Skula's always a soul canister. It's always a candle like that. Even in the vanilla game, it's behind death. Here, it was just in one of the slide checks in the. It was just a slide check in the dance hall on the way towards the big golem, which Jupiter decided not to do because it's a longer check to do. So here we see Rocher making use of Hammer, stocking up on some healing items. Very convenient place for Galamoth, as it's right there. So he'll be able to route it in just on his way through it normally. There's Rocher skipping out on the dance hall for now. Looks like he's going to be doing inner quarters first. He's going to be coming into inner quarters from the other side. Jupiter making quick work of he's making quick work of Headhunter here with some great use of short hop slashes. So since we did find Skula here, and it was behind the slide, what I'm expecting is that Undine and Progression, or we're going to see Undine in the reservoir somewhere. But since he has managed to sequence break the Hippogriff by doing Clock Tower without Undine, he's able to do these flight checks first, which potentially could be pretty big because now this is the last step in the logic. You see Rocher going in to do his headhunter fight, which will also unlock more items in the shop for him. So Burt Gang is a decent little sword. It gives you a small defense boost and does some okay damage. So there's a Levitain, which is a very good sword. And he also picks up a book there. Monster that feasts on flesh. I believe that's Durga. But I will double check that just to be sure. Durga is a soul that Rocher found, but Jupiter did not study. Yeah, so that is Durga. Which could potentially be very big for Rocher, as Jupiter tends to put off the study as late as he possibly can. So he will be doing that, but that's only going to be after he does pretty much... He will only be doing it once he gets a Rush Soul and Undine, I'm pretty sure. And that's the advantage that Rocher has when doing something like early study. So he has that advantage over Jupiter when something useful is actually in there. And there we see the Cognazo Soul being used again. Which is one of the funnier looking souls. The damage on it doesn't seem to be great, but it hits a lot. And we'll see if anything is on death today. Making great use of those double hits from the Muramasa. He got a last Aura in as well. So he gets a Manticore off of death. So that could be our required Rush Soul. And a nice Succubus Soul. It's a good quality of life soul, especially with something like the Muramasa. You're doing multiple hits, so it's a good way to do the Muramasa and the Succubus. You get multiple little heals from it, so it can really help sustain you. Rocher is going to be clearing out the big golem. He also got a nice little Dead Crusader soul there, which is great defense. Jupiter also deciding the Khaled Ball picking up. It was worth his time today. but it wasn't worth keeping. Yeah, it's worth 1 second, but it wasn't worth 20 seconds. Rocher getting the reverse Julius cutscene. Jupiter getting a little peeping eye soul there, which is nice to get. It's nice when you're learning the game, you get to see where all the items are hidden, or where all the breakable walls are. It's what it does. The Rocher is going to be heading towards the floating gardens. He's just trying to do the little jump there. So how that works is because the platforms in this game tend to have rounded edges. At the very peak of your jump, you can land on the very edge of a platform. There's a couple other locations where you can do it as well. So Jupiter getting another rush hole. This one was locked by flight. He still needs Undine before he can head to the forbidden area. Which should be somewhere down here. I don't remember them picking it up. Rocher getting his hippogriff. We'll see, we'll see if he finishes off the clock tower. Yeah, it looks like he is. So there was Undine, also in the reservoir. So we know that you were expected to come here to get Undine before going back up to get Flight. Healing just a little bit because he needs to get back out of here. Okay, so Rocher left the clock tower and he's going to be heading up to top floor as well. But he's going to see that he already has the red soul. Jupiter's just going to do these last couple of checks here. He's going to head up and see the merman room. Meanwhile, Rocher is just going through the top floor. So at this point, they're still missing 2 books, and Jupiter could be missing 3 souls. So there's still a lot of the game to go through, although they have all the movement they need to get everywhere at this point. Because what you need to get the good ending in this game is you need the 3 souls to become Dracula. And so once you're wearing Dracula's 3 souls, you become... Rocher is missing Undine. He also doesn't have the Rush Soul yet, but I imagine he will be getting those very soon. There we find book 3. The goddess of revenge would be Aranus. Which I don't think they picked up yet. So Jupiter is going right for the forbidden area. And Rocher is going to be heading over towards death. He's going to get that Manticore soul. Here's a nice thing that people do as well. They head up here to the study. So he will be doing reverse study, I believe, after this. What you do is you go here and you clear out the boss first, and then you save. And it's a bit more efficient this way. After he finishes this, he'll be heading to finish the forbidden area. Oh, did he fight a boss? I didn't see. So Rocher has his Manticore soul now, so he has a Rush soul as well. There is a flesh golem soul out there, so he can use the spoiled milk to heal if he really wants to, which lets you eat the spoiled milk and it lets you eat the rotten meat. So here there is nothing in the forbidden area, so he's just resetting out and he's going to finish the reverse study here. So it looks like he will be getting the Durga soul pretty soon. And that would put our last, that's going to put our last progression, I suppose, either in the arena or in Legion. See, I'm hoping for Legion. Legion is one of my although they don't have great weapons for it, although they have Manticore, which will be helpful. Rocher is almost dead. One hit away from dying to spikes, but he used a potion there to heal up. He came so close to murdering himself on the spikes. You were right to be worried, but he's better than we are. So Jupiter is going to be doing the arena first. We'll see how Rocher decides to route this. So we know that nothing was in the forbidden area. So he's going to pick up that Dracula's tunic. You know, that was worth his time. It's armors to have in the game. And then we see the best armor in the game there, Death's Robe. It's not that it has the highest defense. So there's the Aranus, it's one of our required souls. It's not that the Drax Tunic has or that the Death's Robe has the best defense, but the stats that it gives make it the best armor, really. So we do know that there's at least one required soul here in the arena. And Manticore is our last soul. So we have Jupiter is now in go mode. Because Manticore was on death. Chat was saying earlier that death never has anything. We've been proved wrong today. So Jupiter is going to be going to shop first. Well, Rocher is going to finish exploring the reservoir here. So Rocher is getting the Devil's Soul, while Jupiter is just deciding what to buy, what to get. Now he's heading up to do his Graham fight. Getting caught by the succubus there. He manages to get out. He had to heal, but he got out. And Rocher's picking up his Undying. We'll see if he gets tricked into going into the forbidden area or not. And what you see there is Jupiter does, he reset his game to reset the RNG, so he could manipulate Graham to teleport into the corner, and that let him get off a really strong rush attack to start the fight. Now he's heading into phase 2 of Graham. He's also... You'll see Jupiter be a lot more careful. He will keep on the souls that he has until he's very close, typically. As you see, other just equip the souls right away. So you never really want to miscount on Graham. And he's using his Manticore Soul on phase 3 here, getting some good damage. And he tried out the Miramasa, but it was only hitting for 9 per hit, so it wasn't really worth it to him to use that when he's getting 42 off of this Ascalon. Meanwhile, Rocher will be doing the Forbidden Area, which we do know has nothing right now. So he's going to find a Mimic at the end of it. And then there's a Claim Soleil behind Graham. Which is a very nice find for Chaos. Although he already has Manticore, and we already have the Muramasa. But this trumps both of those. It's not particularly good for fighting Julius, but it's a nice sword. So he's making his way over to Julius now, and Rocher is about to come up on this room that has 2 mimics in it. And he didn't save on his way in, so he's gonna have to run back out. He's gonna have to make the trek out. He also puts on the Iron Golem so that he can avoid getting trapped by those Cagnazos there. So Jupiter is keeping his Claim Soleil on for now. We'll see if he keeps it for long. So you see those nice 18s of damage. But the reason he's keeping it on is because the sword does give you an int boost. So he's getting more damage from his Rush Soul. And there, I guess he's used up all his NP healing items. He's just going to be hitting them with the Ascalon now. Now that he has to hit with a physical weapon, he switched off of his claim. So he's already into phase 2 of Julius, so you really see how much damage the Rush Soul can do. So Rocher is heading in to do Legion here. So we already know that the progression is in the arena and not in the cemetery. But I still think it's pretty smart to be doing this. Especially if you know that Jupiter would do Arena first. So Jupiter decides he doesn't want that blue soul. He already has Manticore. It's probably just Giant Bat or something there. Rocher doing the old tank Legion strat in the corner. Which is actually one of the fastest ways to do it. He also doesn't want that Randomizer Sphere. And he doesn't want the Balmung, since he already has a better weapon in the clan. So there Rocher found, at least there's a soul behind Legion. So I think Jupiter is going to be coming in a little bit over 40 minutes, which is an amazing time considering that he almost full cleared the game. You see he's making good use of his weapon to hit both statues when he can. And when he can't, he makes good use of just being able to focus one down very quickly. Well, Rocher's heading into the arena now after Legion being a bit of a bust. So he will be picking up his airness, and he will be picking up his blue book and be in go mode. Jupiter here is doing what looks like 4-eye strats. Since he doesn't have so much for MP healing, he's going to kill all 4 eyes to maximize the damage he gets out of Manticore. So there you see him hitting 90s. And then even his sword here is hitting 38. So he's really getting good damage because he could kill all 4 eyes. And when you have a weapon like the Claim, or when you have a weapon like the Final Sword, you really can kill all 4 eyes without being too much trouble. And there we have it. Just as Rocher is finding his last book, Jupiter finishes up the seed. So with his official SRL time of 41 minutes and 30 seconds, Jupiter finishes in first place. It's really a treat to watch him play because it's an incredible execution that he brings to the game. And Rocher has forfeited. So we'll see if anyone wants to come in for an interview or not. But Jupiter has won this round of the tournament, and he will be... I'm not sure if he's moving on to winners finals here. Yeah, a low 40-minute time is amazing. So we'll be heading to winners semifinals first. Okay. So Jupiter will just be in the chat, but Rocher will be joining us for an interview. It was a good run from both of our racers. A couple things didn't work out for Rocher, but it was he did do well. He just hit go mode now at about like 40, 41, 42 minutes. But even then, he would have finished with a respectable low 50s time, which is still very, very strong. It's hard to get a time like that. So we're just waiting on Rocher now, and Jupiter will be in the chat.
Hey.
So GG's Rocher. You put up some good times. How do you feel about how you did in these 2 seeds?
Well, the first seed, I was mad of the first death because I was so happy about doing this routing where basically I had no backtracking to do everything because Bat opens up pretty much everything of the castle. But when I saw I died on early inner, and then when I tried to go back, I realized that it was my first save even before getting the flying armor, and that I had to go back all the way down to the reservoir to get the flying armor. I think that made me lost about 5 minutes. So I think I fell behind the whole race of the first round. And then when I realized also that in this seed there was Panther in Chapel and I didn't go for it, I felt a bit late. But that wasn't the thing that bothered me the most, because I know that Jupiter tends to go for early top floor or early inner, or he tends to not go to Chapel. So I thought he didn't grab the Black Panther early, so he was in the same situation as me. Because we had Chronomage, and having Chronomage plus Giant Bat can allow to go for early Galamoth, and that was interesting for the first race. The routing globally in the first seed was crazy, and then in the second race, I did not want to go for early floating gardens. I tried to stick to the study route pretty basically. And then I wanted to stick to study, and then I gambled the fact that there would be something in the Forbidden Area or behind Legion. It turns out there was nothing. Also, I was pretty sure the blue soul was either Manticore or Devil, because there were 2 canisters with the rush souls. So I was pretty sure it was one of those. Turns out it was Manticore.
That does happen pretty often when you have 2 rush souls and one of them is the soul. Although I have seen it where they found all 3 rush souls and it was neither of them. So it's not always guaranteed to be one of them.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's this seed or the one before where I had a rush soul of drop. Also, on the first seed after I died, I had this demon mail drop from the Valkyrie, and that helped me a lot, and it saved completely all of my routing, because without that I was dead.
Yeah, we saw that. It was a pretty great drop, considering it was a long time before we got any good armor like that. I think maybe Dracula's tunic was at the end of the game.
Dracula's tunic, I think, maybe with this seed or the one before, but one of them what does the hippogriff location after the first teleportation.
In this seed, doing the study earlier didn't help you too much. Like, you did get the Durga, which was good.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like the first seed where Jupiter put off doing the study and you did it much earlier, which let you make up pretty much the entire time you lost to getting late Black Panther and dying.
Yeah, but either way, I know that because Jupiter has really good execution and a really good understanding of the game overall, I had to go for risky plays that could pay off. So I tried to push myself in a bit outside of what I'm used to do in order to get really nice routing and stuff. But and also, yeah, Jupiter points out that the first game had a hammer having what book. And that was the first time that happened to me. I had pretty much everything happen to me except Hammer having one of the books. I thought it would not happen. I saw people in Discord talking about that, but I never experienced it before. So yeah, that was crazy.
It's very rare for Hammer to have a book.
Mm.
I
And
feel like it's
also,
less than 1 out of 20 chance.
it was my go mode in the first game. Like the last thing I checked from the seed was the hammer shot, because I knew I was 100% sure that reservoir was not required, because we already had 2 books, many blue souls, and all the souls from the yellow and the blue book. So I knew that because I didn't do study and there's a lot of things to do in study, there would be a high chance of the book being there. Also, getting the backdash to get the backdash room in the logic indicates me that there would be something in study, and it ended up being hammer. So unless I I checked hammer, I was like, there's no way there could be something in the reservoir. We already have pretty much everything. So
Yeah, in my experience, when the souls and books tend to be earlier in the logic, like if you find a required soul and it's
it's also
early in the
about
floating gardens, it's early in all the areas, it tends to mean that you don't have to go into the reservoir.
It's also where you get Schola. If you get Schola after Malthus and you're in like dance hall or inner quarters or something like this, there's a high chance of going into a reservoir, because you don't have anything, but basically having top floor unlocked is a meaning that you're close to the end. Top floor is actually a really good area because it can help you do Clock Tower and Floating Gardens without backtracking.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of going into top floor when you can. I'm a big fan of doing clock tower in reverse like that. It's also really strong.
Mm.
And top floor itself tends to have more progression than some other areas.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, those were really fun race. I think I'm against. I go to loser bracket, but I don't have any opponent yet, and Jupiter is still rocking the winner bracket. So GG's, mate.
So you have your chance to come back through the losers bracket to face him in either losers finals or grand finals.
Yeah,
Probably
maybe.
grand finals at this rate.
Who knows? I don't know who we have yet in the bracket. Who's a really good player now? We have Solon Suzuki, who is really good, and we have Semo, who's still in winners.
That would be me. I'm gonna do my best, but we'll see.
Yeah. Good luck playing against Solon, because I played him once and this was a seed with good execution, and he was really good at it. He won and he was really good.
Yeah, he has very strong execution. I think him and Doc Ryder probably have maybe the second best execution behind Jupiter, who has incredible execution. It's astonishing sometimes.
Yeah, I think I'll gladly watch the race back to learn a bit from what Jupiter did, and to see what was his routing and how he did the game. You learn a lot from that, from watching the others race.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you have any other final thoughts on the seed or anything?
No, except I think you talked about that during your commentary, but if anyone is interested in the Aria of Sorrow randomizer, that they feel free to join the Discord. We're a small community for now, but we already have some tools, and this randomizer is pretty easy to get, but hard to master, so there's a lot of room for improvement and discovering new stuff of the game. So feel free to leave to drop by in the Discord and talk about stuff. So yeah, that was it. It's getting pretty late for me, so I think I'm gonna head out.
All right, so thank you very much for joining for the interview. Thank you very much for being on the restream, and have yourself a great night. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
So that is it for the 2 matches that we had today. So there was no game 3. So our next match currently on the schedule is set for Sunday, March 22nd. And we'll have Doc Ryder versus Eralis. So that's going to be at noon Eastern Daylight Time, when that will be starting on Sunday. So thank you very much. Make sure to follow SpeedGaming and its other channels, SpeedGaming 2, 3, 4. However many they're up to now. It's quite a few. Again, there's the Discord if any of you guys are interested. But thank you very much for watching today, and have yourselves a great day.